I still distinctly remember it's my dad who made me a feminist. But dad is like, you go ahead and fly and spread your wings, and dad will be here for you.
Actually, you just brought up, your role model, the male role model. My dad was the one who took care of me when I was younger. If you think about it, it's the small things that matter.
Hey everyone, it's Dawn and welcome back to the International Women's Festival podcast, and my host Dawn from Media Clubroom, and I'm here with Eileen, Chia, Senior Publishing Director for Singapore Press Holdings. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, thank you. It's so lovely to be here this morning and just feel that woman power spirit.
Right, I also feel the same. I mean, we've been here yesterday as well. Same, like supercharged. I mean, I love Playpen and what they're doing for like bringing voices of women and also doing good and also playing good. So as a woman, what does International Women's Day mean to you?
I think it's lovely to have a day, but I like to think that it's International Women's Day every day. Yeah. But I think it's important to have one day where we really think about what it means to be a woman. What can we do more to support other women? I think that's particularly very important for me. As you grow older, you tend to sort of sit back and think, what's the meaning in life?
So what does being a woman mean to you then, in your field?
From a work front, that resonates a lot to me. As a senior publisher director of the lifestyle division at SPH, we've got brands, media brands like Her World, which is actually celebrating its 65th anniversary this year. It's been continuously sort of being the platform and voice for women in Singapore. That's so important for us, to stay strong and continue to represent sort of all sorts of women who are just sort of living remarkable lives in Singapore. That sort of gives them that platform to share their stories. Yeah.
That's so good, because I was talking to a few of my interviews yesterday who are like powerful women in their own right. And I was just talking about how 10 years ago when I was super young and starting in like the film industry, you can really see the shift in how women are treated from a women's perspective, right? How has the needle shifted in the media landscape?
I think COVID in 2020 has impact from a professional viewpoint or in a woman's life. Everyone had to stop for a moment because, it was just a constant change with digital innovation. Everything was just moving at such a huge, fast pace, right? I think there was a deeper appreciation of what women juggle in that sense. I like to think amongst my social circle, the spouses, the partners, or have found out like, hey, even if I have a stay-home wife who doesn't work, this is the level of the sort of labor that she puts in every day. And for women who work and have to balance family, you really have to up your ante in trying to balance, because you don't have that physical separation of being able to go like, bye, I'm going off to work.
Leave the kids somewhere.
Exactly. You really need to up your skill set, I like to think, and really compartmentalize your mind, right?
Growing up as a young feminist, I still distinctly remember it's my dad who made me a feminist, because he really made me feel like I could fly. And I have an older brother, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so apparent that I'm weaker than him. But my dad is like, you have other talents. Go ahead and fly and spread your wings, and dad will be here for you. I'm like, women empowerment.
Actually, you just brought up, your role model, the male role model, which I kind of can understand, because my dad, right, was the one who took care of me when I was younger. He was the one who made my Milo, got me ready for school. Yeah,
my dad changed my diapers.
I know, right? So, but if you think about it, it's with kids and parents, it's the small things that matter. My husband used to travel a lot for work, right? So I've got 4 kids. The first 3, he was hardly around because he was just traveling. And then when I had my 4th child, it was during COVID time, right? He was always at home. And he was like, the youngest one is so special. And I said, actually, all your children are special. It's just that you weren't here to see that daily, joy. So we sort of like say, women stay at home, or, men get to go out and work. But there's also a flip side where they go, society expects me to go out and bring home the bacon, but here am I missing out. There's so many beautiful moments.
As a mother, did you feel like with working from home and spending time with your boys, did you learn anything new about yourself? Because you talked about like upskilling and compartmentalizing. What did you get out of it?
I think really trying to prioritize is very important, and knowing when would be the optimum time to do something. For example, if I have to put in extra hours at work, I tend to do it after the children have gone to bed. It comes again in a space of privilege. If you're privileged enough to have a space at home where you can carve out for work, that helps really, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Did you think that this was a privilege given to you?
I do think so. I think, and again, something that I've used so much about women leaders. In our session just now, I talked about empathy. As I progress, I feel so much empathy for women in their 30s with young children, and they're trying to make a mark in their career. They don't want to be left behind. They're really trying, and then they have young children. I have so much empathy for that, and I personally like to lean in and say, "Hey, you're doing great."
They are.
Yeah.
Hey, when you talk about like women in the media landscape, have you felt that there is a change in the way the media has portrayed women over the years? Because I definitely think so.
I do. I think I see a lot more of inclusivity. At one stage, I used to talk about how when you're 45 and above, like myself, you become part of what I call the invisible generation for women. But I think in the last 10 years, I do see more inclusivity. Age, it's not such a huge factor anymore. In fact, we do embrace. Yeah.
Also, going back to women in their 30s, I think that's so important because I have friends who are the same age as me who are juggling, babies, and they have very upfront told me that, Dawn, I see you like living this life and it's always very cool, but I want that life, but now I have a child and now I feel super guilty. Why do I want to separate, the mother part of me for going for my dreams basically? And I always ask them, but you don't regret it though, you don't regret it, right? You're like, it's never a regret. But what you said just struck a chord because I literally had this conversation with another friend of mine, and she's like, I really am struggling, and I will just tell you that I'm struggling because I want to go for a career that I want, but I also have a child at home. So I think this would be super inspiring for her to see someone who is in the same position.
Yeah.
And like
it's tough. I can share that there are times where I'm torn between being a mother, doing the right thing, and my career as well. Do I want a more challenging role? Would I like to take up a role that travels? I have to choose, you see, and that's the truth. I think to be real about it, you do have a lot of crossroads, especially between the ages of like 30 to 40.
I feel like nobody really talks about that.
Yeah.
About the invisible generation.
The invisible generation, the inner turmoil. It's a very conflicting time for a woman, I feel.
In Singapore's context, you have to have it all. As a woman, as a mother, you have to be seen having it all, right?
Yeah.
So that's one piece of advice you give to women there that are struggling in this space.
I would say, contrary to what, we all wow and they'll say, you have to have it all, you can have it all. Maybe don't put so much pressure on yourself about having it all. Maybe ask yourself, what do you want from that table of all, and prioritize that for yourself. It's impossible to have it all at any one given time. Maybe you could have 3 things now, like 5 years later, you might have another 2,
Yeah.
Just be kinder to yourself.
In your career or in your workspace, have you ever seen inequality in women? I'm pretty sure you have.
Oh, totally. You'd be surprised. I would say, through my work career, sometimes we think that it's sort of men versus women. That is totally not true. I've worked with women bosses or women leaders who, being women themselves, we tend to be harsher or even a little bit more critical about our women colleagues. Like, hey, I can do it too. Why can't you?
Do you think that's a thing?
Yeah, I think so. I see that too. Sort of like, I'm a mother too. If I can do this, you should. So I think broadly, I would say it's different for everyone. It depends. We hear a lot about the community. We hear a lot about it takes a village. Everyone has a different support system. So we can't judge people based on your own barometer.
Who is a woman that inspires you?
I have to say, it's so cliche, but I have to say it's my mom. My mom worked all through. In fact, she fought for her right to work. My dad was like, hey, you got 4 kids now, you should stay home and take care of the children. She believed really passionately that she wanted to work. She felt like, based on her personality, having a career of her own would add to her as a person and in return become a better mother, a happier person. And I totally believe in that. Yeah.
Do you think that affected you in how you went for your career?
I think she sort of set the bar really high.
Oh, she did.
So yes, my mom is in her 70s now and she's still working.
Wow.
So yes.
You've been very privileged and blessed to have women that you look up to and who inspires you. So what do you think of the women who might not have a support system like that?
In my field of work, I noticed that women are actually very happy to help other women, reach out, ask for help. Just don't be afraid. I think a lot of times we all tend to hold it in and feel like we need to show that we have it all together. We got it, right? We're afraid to cry at work. But the point is we're all human. Just sharing that you need support at that moment and having a leap of faith that you won't be judged. I think that's so important. It takes courage to do it, but it's so important.
And courage is the most difficult thing to harness, I feel. As we come to a close, what is one thing you hope for women in the upcoming years for International Women's Day?
I hope for women to embrace men,
Interesting.
Yes, I hope
embrace
for them to embrace men. I feel sometimes when we're all, my husband says, you're such a scary feminist, That's not a good thing. That's not a good
How
thing.
are you a scary feminist?
Because
Some examples.
Because I have 4 boys, so I'm the only woman at home, right? So sometimes I get annoyed and I'll be like, I stand up for all women in the world. We do not pick up dirty clothes on the floor. You guys pick up your own clothes now,
I agree. Pick up your dirty clothes.
Yes. So
Put down the toilet cover.
But I think when we embrace them and not see them as the opposite sex, but rather
it's not a
partners,
competition.
Exactly.
And it's not a
exactly.
women's issue. It's a human issue.
It is a human issue, and I think just including them, we talk about inclusivity, just including them, having more understanding towards each other's. Like it or not, we're made different. We're biologically different. Our hormones are different, and that typically leads to different ways of dealing with things.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really enjoyed.